Hey folks, I've got some questions from you about my wooden MP5. Well, I haven't made videos about how I actually put the work into it, but I will gladly talk you through the process of wooding up the MP5 anyway. I started with a wood surplus set from the G3, which is readily available in Germany. And back when I bought them, they are rather cheap too, so worth the risk for wooding the MP5. There are two ways to come from this to this one: the easy way and the Dremel way. The easy way would be buying an HK33 end blade and adding an MP5 rubber buffer into it. That's what I did with this one. The Dremel way is to cut this down to MP5 size. So the cut would go down somewhere around here to make it look like that. It may look intimidating at first, but if you take your time, you can probably do it in like 10 minutes. Just make sure slow and steady does it. Don't make it wonky. Make it look like there's a straight line. Oh, and don't forget, after you've cut it, apply some quick glue or a similar substance to prevent corroding from the open surface. And of course, this spring for the G3 stock, you will remove it and you will replace the G3 buffer with an MP5 rubber buffer. Now for the handguard. To get this one to this one is tricky. No matter what method you're using, keep it slow, keep it controlled. Don't get frustrated because these are old surplus parts and they come in various degrees of damage and conditions, and some maybe already have cracks, so you don't want to speed force your work on it. Just keep slow and steady to make this one into this one. Some people before me have done a similar mod, made two cuts. They cut it here, they cut it here, and then put the back part to the front part and glued it together. Some added epoxy in the middle to add a certain amount of extra gluiness so these parts will stick together. If you're not comfortable with sticking wood together and probably having a visible seam all around the handguard, you will want to use another method. And that's what I did. My idea was to make a single cut and remove this one, this metal tab, and put it on the cut. And that's pretty much exactly what I did. You can see where it was. So I made a cut about here, and then I used my little friend the Dremel with the raspy thing up there to carefully carve out the wood of this end piece to make this piece fit over it again. After you've done it, you have to make a little pocket in there to put these little metal wings. You just put it back on it and that's it. Well, it certainly isn't perfect because I'm not a guy who usually does this kind of work, but it did work. Also, what you probably wanna have to do, well, you don't want to do it, but you have to do it, is to carefully get the surface here a bit smooth out and a bit bent together so it will fit your MP5. Yeah, that's the handguard for me. I think that took quite a bit of time. I'd say probably an hour because I was extra careful, cutting it a bit longer and then getting it a bit shorter every time just to see when I got the right fit together. And the right fit is right here. And now for the pistol grip. This one is made by a German company called Mill and it's made for the G3. That means it's supposed to fit on a steel G3 trigger housing. But finding a steel MP5 trigger housing is almost nearly impossible. And that means Mr. Dremel is back in action, or Miss Dremel if you prefer. And what you're gonna do is to cut this one down to MP5 size. And this is probably the easiest of all the mods I've told you so far, because it's really just a straight cut to get this one down to the correct size that you need for the MP5. Again, if you're a perfectionist, add some quick glue or something like that at the end of it so it won't be a blank metal surface. I have not done this right now, so you can see where I made the cut. This one is still a blank metal surface here. Some quick glue would be a good idea to prevent this from corroding, but I keep my firearms usually well stored, so I don't have a lot of rust on my firearms. Fingers crossed that it will stay that way. And of course, once the mod is done, just slap your MP5 SA or SEF for the people allowed to own it, trigger unit in it, and you're good to go to install that onto your MP5. And that's about it. There you go with your fully wooded MP5. For a final touch, I added a bit of Balistol wood polishing to the thirsty G3 surplus parts because polished wood is happy wood. I hope this video answered the questions you have about how I woodified my MP5. And if you want to create it, well, go ahead and add some wood to your MP5. It's utterly useless to add surplus wood parts to a modern MP5 or MP5 clone, but hey, it looks awesome, right? I mean, can't argue with how sexy this piece actually looks. There's nothing else for me to say except for gut Holz!